Hey guys, Hitman89 here. I hope you're doing great, and I don't know about you, but I think 2022 has been awesome for gaming. So today I'm gonna be showing you the best games that we got in the first half of 2022. The blockbusters, obviously, but also a couple of underrated games that got overshadowed by the big ones. So if you wanna see part 2 with only games that came out during the second half of 2022, hit the like button and I'll make it happen. Now right off the bat, let's take a look at the first game. Dying Light 2 came out in a rough shape. It was riddled with bugs and online co-op was basically unplayable. Several updates later though, most bugs have been ironed out, New Game Plus was added, and it's about to get its first story DLC. So Dying Light 2 is definitely much better now. The gameplay is enjoyable, and being able to do some parkour in an open world zombie game is what makes it special. Also, I played the game and actually finished it on PS5, and the adaptive triggers make swinging your weapon feel heavy in a good way, so I really love the combat system and the gameplay in general. But the writing and cutscenes are some of the worst I've seen in a long time. They prevented the game from being great. Seriously, every time there was a cutscene, and no matter how emotional they tried to make it seem, I watched it like a complete sociopath. Now when it comes to the second game on my list, I honestly wasn't interested in playing it, like at all, but I still ended up giving it a shot, thinking I would hate it and turn it off within a few minutes. But I have to say, Stray is not bad. And I'm not even into cats, dogs, or any kind of pets, probably because I'm not white, so I really don't give a shit. But Stray is about a cat that became friends with an android in order to leave this cyberpunk world. And although it's pretty linear with only contextual jumps and simple gameplay mechanics that are mostly based on platforming and avoiding enemies, it's different than most games you can play this year, and for that alone it's worth checking out. But Stray is extremely short. It'll only take you between 4 and 5 hours to beat it. So if you're on PlayStation, get it for $20 or less, and if you're on PC, then you probably already got the game for free, if you know what I mean. Now at number 3 we have an underrated game. I think in order for a roguelite to be successful, it has to be highly addictive and extremely fun to play. And Rogue Legacy 2 is exactly that. I really loved the first one, and the sequel improves upon it and makes the gameplay even deeper. There are a bunch of classes that you can choose from, and every single one of them has a unique playstyle. Oh, and the ridiculous random traits are still there, so they can either make your run easier or a complete pain in the ass. And the game is quite challenging on its own, even without those random traits, but at least the huge amount of skills and upgrades you can unlock make it somewhat manageable. I'm not ashamed to say I struggled with the very first boss fight, so yeah. Now let me show you the next game, which is one of the best looking games of 2022. Horizon Forbidden West took my breath away several times with its beautiful photorealistic scenery and even characters. That being said, I didn't find its open world addictive. You know, the urge to explore? Didn't feel it, so I ended up sticking to the main quest line. At least they improved melee combat, facial animations, and platforming, even though climbing is still a chore and side quests aren't that interesting. I don't know if you noticed, but it's usually about finding and returning some motherfucker who couldn't find his way back home. So Horizon Forbidden West has been getting some major updates that mainly focus on improving the graphics in performance mode and adding variable refresh rate, but what it really needs is an update that finally makes Aloy shut the fuck up. Now at number 5 we have Sniper Elite 5. Yeah, I did it on purpose. So I was pleasantly surprised by Sniper Elite 5 because I honestly didn't think I'd like it, but I did. And that's probably because I haven't played the Sniper Elite game in over 10 years though. So if you just played Sniper Elite 4, I wouldn't recommend getting this one unless you can get it for super cheap. What I like about this one is the map's open design, and the ability to climb around and use the environment to your advantage reminded me of Hitman. So you really don't have to sit and wait for enemies to show up so you can take them out with your sniper rifle. I mean, you don't even have to use stealth. You could just whip out your machine gun and start blasting those Nazi fools in the face or in the balls. Too bad it doesn't support split screen anymore though, cause I remember playing the very first Sniper Elite on PS2 in split screen with my brother, and we had a blast. You can still play it online with a friend though, plus it just got a free DLC, so maybe give it a shot. The next game I wanna show you is completely different. Gran Turismo 7 brings back its iconic career mode, and I'm really glad it did, cause last time I played the shit out of a Gran Turismo game was on PS1. I loved Gran Turismo 2 GT, and World Map mode reminded me of those days, but with way better graphics. So if you want to play a good racing simulator, get Gran Turismo 7 on PS5 and enjoy that haptic feedback action. Oh, and personally, I never buy skins or any sorts of in-game items in free-to-play games, let alone in games that cost 60 or in this case, 70 motherfucking bucks. But for those of you who do, you should know that the microtransactions here are straight up disgusting. Obviously, if you're on Xbox or PC and you want a more arcadey racing game, then just get Forza Horizon 5. Or if you want a more recent but shittier game, then get Grid Legends. By the way, shout out to buygames.ps for providing me with all the console games I need. If you want any PlayStation or Xbox games for cheap, you'll find their link in the description, so check them out. Now at number 7 we're gonna be looking at a much smaller game. On Nobody Saves the World, you play as a shapeshifter called Nobody, who's a useless little bitch, but as you progress through the game, you'll be able to transform into a knight, a mage, and even a horse. Nobody Saves the World can be pretty funny at times, and you won't find that many action RPGs with this concept. Make sure you like to grind though, cause you're gonna be doing it all the time. On the bright side though, the game supports both split screen and online co-op, so you can play the whole thing with a friend. Speaking of which, the 8th game, which is called Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, also supports split screen and online co-op. And it's not just a Borderlands 3 reskin. Well, it is, but they turned it into a tabletop RPG with hilarious narration, awesome voice acting, and decent writing. As long as you're not a professional video game journalist, aka a pussy-ass bitch who gets offended by everything. So I played Tiny Tina's Wonderlands solo, but also a little bit with my brother and later on with my wife, and we had a good time. Now let's take a look at the 9th game, which flew under most people's radars, and even though it looks like a mobile game, it's actually a real game. And if right now you're thinking, hold on Hitman, are you saying mobile games aren't real games? That's exactly what I'm saying. So OlliOlli World is a 2D skateboarding game that looks simplistic but is actually challenging while still being fun to play. Cause gameplay wise it's accessible to newcomers, but it's so deep it'll take you a while to master it. So whether you're into skateboarding or not, I think it's worth playing, especially if you played all the biggest games this year and you wanna try out a smaller one that's a little bit different, maybe you should pick this one up. Last but not least, we have Rainbow Six Extra. No, I'm just fucking with you. I couldn't make this list without having Elden Ring on it. So yeah, as soon as it came out, I no-lifed the shit out of it, and I'm honestly surprised my wife didn't divorce my ass. Maybe it's cause deep inside she was proud of me cause I beat it. Nah, I don't think that's it. The most realistic explanation is she was glad I was too busy to annoy her. Speaking of which, I got addicted to Elden Ring so much that I uninstalled it the second it asked me if I wanted to start Journey 2. In all seriousness now, if you're one of the 5 people who still haven't played Elden Ring and you're looking for an open world game where the exploration is exciting, the combat is challenging, and the story is great, well, nah, to understand the story you're gonna have to go on YouTube, but for everything else, Elden Ring's got you covered. And that's gonna be it for the best games of 2022 so far that you should play right now. I did my best to include some underrated games as well, so I really hope this video helped you find a couple of good ones to play. Hit the like button if it did, and consider subscribing for more top 10 videos of the best games to play and game reviews as well. And if you are already a subscriber and you enjoy my content, maybe share it with a friend and see if they like my shitty jokes too. Anyway, it's been Hitman89, see you guys very soon.